Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the latest edition of Market Wrap. Mike Manjos coming to you back from the office in Bala. As you can see, out of the house again. I actually hit some traffic driving down from Connecticut, which actually made me smile, that people were actually out enough to look like things are starting to get back to normal. It's always great to be in the office, even with a skeleton crew, and at a distance, it's just good to see the guys and good to get a little bit of the energy back from the building. So we had a great week this week, a lot of traffic coming in, a lot of 3 watches we loved. The first one we're going to talk about is the Tudor Black Bay Chrono. This is a kind of a classic steel chrono from Tudor, steel bezel, steel bracelet, snowflake hand, and to me this watch is just a great value. It's a great knock-around chronograph. Tudor is obviously part of Rolex, so the quality is incredible. And at a price of under $4,000, I think it's just a great buy. Sure, it won't last long. Love those classic Tudors. We'll talk about Tudor a little bit later in the segment, but that's one I really love and glad to have back. The second piece we're going to talk about today is obviously my daily driver, my favorite, the Batman. We got one in full set. We were out of Batman for a while. Once COVID hit, we had brought prices down and they had come down in the market. We sold out of Batman. Nice to have one back in stock. It's still, to me, long-term, one of the best Rolexes. Just great looking, and I'm not a Jubilee bracelet guy. So the new Batgirl doesn't do it for me, so I'm just happy to have the classic and think long-term that one will hold up. The third piece is really a special piece. So this is the Lange 31. Now the 31 was a full 31-day power reserve. They introduced a number of years ago. They first did it in platinum and then came out with a rose gold version. Now this is a monster watch. It's 45.9 millimeters wide. It is 15.9 thick. I used to aptly describe it as the hockey puck. It has no working crown to wind it because you need a full key. It comes in a little case, and it's a good 10-minute workout to crank this thing up. But the technology is amazing. The movement's incredible. You don't see a lot of them because it was 140,000 in rose gold, 170,000 in platinum, so it wasn't an inexpensive piece. And they didn't produce a lot. So to have one come in the secondary market is rare. I think it's only the second rose gold version we've ever had. So happy to have that back in the Lange collection. And it's a brand that's been picking up certainly over the last few months, so nice to have that as well. So overall, we had a busy week. We actually had some great brand news this week. So Patek, there was an announcement on Watch Pro this week that said Patek is going to release new product this year. We don't have a time frame or a date yet, but they reversed the earlier decision of not releasing new product, which was one that made us very happy. We're good. We're going to see new product from Rolex. Now we know Patek will also be releasing new product. My expectation is it'll probably be after the summer, after their August break, which I'm sure they will still take. But hopefully come September or October, we'll have some new product to talk about. The second company we talked to this week was Tudor. We had a Zoom call with them. And they also are going to do one single release this year. And they promised us that it will become either their number 1 or number 2 bestseller. It's a bold call from a brand to know they have a home run. They had other product, but they've decided they're only going to release the one. So I'm hoping maybe it's a new snowflake sub, something iconic, something vintage. I love Tudor. I think they're great value. But it'd be nice to see a one intro that will be at a price point that a lot of people will be able to afford. So that'll be great. And now for the bad news. So we was reading an article today on SJX. It's a website I follow out of Asia, and they are predicting, well, first of all, they reported that Swiss exports dropped 82% in April. We knew things were going to be bad. We knew things would be slow on the new goods side. That's a massive number. They predict, so for the year, it brings us 26% down year over year. They're predicting it'll be 30% drop for the year. It's an industry that usually grows at a single-digit percentage, so to see a 30% drop is a monster number. They're predicting it'll take a full 10 years to get back to the 2019 levels. I think it'll bounce back quicker. I think it'll take a couple of years to get back, but I expect the brands are going to do their best to fill demand. They've lost at least 2 months worth of production. They're going to need to make up that revenue, and I think they will produce and distribute and hopefully put some of the great pieces on the market. Now, we also see a big drop in jobs, especially in the subcontractor market. So a lot of specialty manufacturers manufacture for a lot of the brands. These guys are really getting hurt, and I'm expecting we may see some failures there. We may see some consolidation, brands buying up subcontractors. We had seen this in the last recession, and it was nowhere near as bad as this. So I expect you'll see some consolidation. Strong are going to get stronger. Some of the weaker guys are going to fall by the wayside. So we do love to track the new deliveries because obviously production of new pieces and delivery of new pieces directly impacts the secondary market. Rolex officially opened up their portal this week, so we were able to put in orders for new goods. We expect that there'll be a big ramp up in June. It'll be interesting to see what effect that has going into the summer. We do believe things will soften up a little bit in the summer because they normally do anyways. And with this influx of new product, we think it's going to affect the market on the secondary side. We've certainly seen prices bounce back off of the bottoms of April. But it's kind of too early to tell if that light we're seeing is the end of the tunnel or just a cliff to go off again. So stay tuned to the market. We'll hopefully see what happens at the end of the summer, and hopefully by third or fourth quarter, we'll have some positive news. Now this week, we also talking about some value buys. Interestingly enough, I decided to go all Patek this week because what I'm seeing in the Patek market is definitely some values. I actually own a 5135. It's the big kind of rectangular cushiony shaped annual calendar. It's a beautiful size. It's my favorite Patek that I own because it wears really well. I'm used to wearing bigger watches. It wears well. We've got a rose gold version that's full set, mint, beautiful at $26,950. It's crazy that in the mid-20s you can buy an annual calendar. To me, is one of the best pieces they make. Easily a watch that would retail in the 50s today. I think that's something that long-term will hold up, and it's just a great buy. The second one is the 5235G, the Regulator. Again, it was a watch that when it first came out was impossible to get, over retail, and has really come down from the 50s and now, again, trading in the low 30s. It's a Regulator. They haven't made it very long. They didn't produce huge numbers. Eventually, that watch will bounce back just because it's unique. It's kind of cool. It still says Patek, but with a special twist to it. So I think that's another one to keep an eye on. And the last one is one of my all-time favorites, and that's the 5270G, especially in the 0101 dial. I also like the 013 chin. We can have that argument all day long, but perpetual chronos in Patek are just iconic. That particular one, again, selling right around $100,000, was 170 new. The 5970s have come back up already and are trading for $30,000 or $40,000 more than that. So I think that's a watch that will get recognized eventually and will come back up. So those are our value buys for this week. Please continue to follow us on Instagram Live. We love the community we've built through this crisis, and hopefully now that everyone's getting back to work, we'll continue to keep that connection going. Continue to pray for our frontline workers, our true heroes, and hopefully there is some light at the end of that tunnel, so stay positive.